Monica Long, president of Ripple, told us earlier this year that the floodgates are opening and it is happening. When we really think about it, the floodgates are opening and the world's biggest banks can now get in. This is actually very important to keep an eye on because banks are getting the go-ahead, which will lead to widespread acceptance and the movement of trillions of dollars on chain. This is a very important time to pay attention to this when we really think about it. It all started in March of this year when David Sachs gave us a big report on what the FDIC said. It said that the FDIC had made it easy for banks to do crypto things. This is one of the best ways to get more people to use crypto thanks to the FDIC, ZW, and Travis Hill, who is working as head. When we really look into this, the FDIC has made it clear how banks can do crypto business. This is very important because the FDIC is one of the biggest players in the US banking industry and ensures most bank accounts. Big banks are allowed to do it, which was a clear sign that things were changing. And then on May 7, we got the OC, which makes it clear that national banks can buy and sell crypto assets based on what their customers want and can hire third parties to handle storage and execution as long as they properly manage risk. We even got a video from the OC saying that banks that are regulated by the OC can buy and sell assets that custody and execution. It's legal for banks to do these things with crypto assets. Over 50 million people in the US own some kind of cryptocurrency. The move toward digital banking services is not a trend, it's a change. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has confirmed that national banks and federal savings associations can do some cryptocurrency activities in a way that is safe and good for their users. Banks that are regulated by the OC can offer custody services to their customers, which includes keeping cryptocurrencies and other digital assets safe and secure. The banks that we keep an eye on can also buy and sell their own coins. People who use these banks to keep their tax records or file their taxes may also offer other security services to their customers. OCC banks can have a sub-custodian do the same work for them as long as they take the right steps for managing third-party risk. There are many things that banks and their third parties can do with cryptocurrencies and digital assets. However, I want to make it clear that the OC expects these things to be done safely and in line with the law. To learn more, visit OCCGD. This was a big confirmation on top of the FDIC's decision that banks would be able to offer crypto services. Now that all of those issues have been fixed, we learned on June 14th that banks can now offer their crypto services. I hate Bitcoin services so much. As you can see, this is from a Bitcoin Maxi account. You can now offer crypto services, but SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce says that every U.S. bank can now offer crypto services. This could be the beginning of Wall Street's full acceptance of crypto. This is yet another big change in the market. This brings me to what we got on the 24th. A new Federal Reserve Chair Powell says that banks can do business with crypto and also help the crypto industry with their banking needs. This is based on subjective views. See also, what do banks and other regulated businesses do when it comes to dealing with digital assets? I probably wasn't the first person to notice this, but I do hear a big change in tone, and it really shows how people's ideas in the crypto business are changing over time. I think there will be more going on. How does the Fed evaluate and keep an eye on banks and other regulated businesses that work with crypto or digital assets? From our point of view, banks should choose who comes into their business. That's not what we did. Banks are now free to offer their services to crypto businesses and companies. Banks can also do crypto things as long as they do them in a way that keeps things safe. Thanks to the Fed, the OC, and the FDIC, this is great news for XRP and Ripple. Agreeing to Ripple's website had a list of all their partnerships. These big banks are huge, and some of them are even in the US. Let's take a look at this list. We also think about what's going on with big players right now. What do you think will happen with XRP and Ripple soon? A lot of people will use this device. It makes me think of what Bank of America told us in January, doesn't it? The CEO of Bank of America says that banks will start accepting crypto payments right away if the government lets them. Since JP Morgan entered the crypto market with the JPMD token, which works like a stable coin, we know that the government is okay with it. State Street was also planning to start crypto custody in 2026. besides taking part. It took place in February of this year. Let's play that March clip again where Monica Long said, the CEO of Bank of America said, we're all in. I want to talk about Citi in a moment. It looks like a flood is about to happen. This year, it seems like everything is going to break loose. In the last week or two, I've heard from CEOs of companies like Bank of America in what seemed like minutes. These are companies that have worked with us before. For example, Bank of America was one of our first partners when we were making a payment system that only used messaging software. That hasn't been the best way to handle these assets and technologies for a long time. There hasn't been enough clarity, and there was even some hostility toward using them. But I think things will change this year. I could also say that since November and the outcome of the US election, we've been in talks with banks about them becoming reserve banks or transaction banking partners for the stablecoin or our payments business. These talks are still going on. It seemed like the message and tone changed. All of a sudden, things have changed because we can now see all the big players who don't care about the big banks, including the FDIC, the OC, and even the Fed. Now, all of them say you can get into crypto as long as you follow the rules. Also, remember that Citi and the other big banks have been around for a long time. Bank of America has used blockchain before, and JP Morgan has also used crypto before. Citi has been using cryptocurrencies for a while. In 2024, they created the Citi Integrated Digital Assets Platform, CIAPP, to encourage new ideas and help people find solutions using blockchain. I talked about the digital transformation that was happening at the time, and the most important parts were the real-world use cases like Citi's token services for trade test bond blocks, block exchange, private fund tokenization, and proof of concept. It looks like these big banks have been getting ready for this. Everything was set. It even has digital assets for the Citi. This is the full list of what the Citi is doing with blockchain and DT. It looks like people are still not seeing it to use coins in private markets, showing what you know, control and settlement of digital goods, using digital money